Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is episode 3 of What Anna Said podcast. We're so happy that you decided to tune in after what you've already seen. Thank you so much for joining us and continuing to check up on what we're up to. So here we are again today. Today we're not in the car. We actually
Mm-hmm.
have some time to have a cup of coffee like we did earlier and
Mm-hmm.
just get together. Sienna is still here with us today. Of course, she is going to be just a part of the team moving forward permanently. And so today we're just getting together, kind of just taking some time to be outside in nature. If you're
Mm-hmm.
listening to this right now, take some time to touch a tree today. Go outside and smell the fresh air. Look at the blades of grass that's right now in Texas growing finally after the hottest summer it feels like. We had
Mm-hmm.
such a hot summer this
Mm-hmm.
summer. So the grass is growing and it's beautiful to see and enjoy because winter is right around the corner. So we're just trying to enjoy the sun today.
Sienna, do you have something you'd like to add to the podcast? Hmm? Like, I was pregnant during the summer, and that was crucial.
Mm, pregnancy during summers. Don't work and
Kim,
that
you were pregnant in summer with
Yes, I was
twins.
pregnant with the twins during the summer, so that was. I can't even remember honestly. I think I stayed inside most of the time because of how hot it is. If you live in Texas, then you know that it can get scorching hot out here. Okay, so especially add pregnancy on top of that,
mhm.
it's just not a good mix at all.
So, as you guys can see, Kim's wearing a Texas Rangers. I mean, for those that are tuning
Yes.
in via YouTube, or if you're listening, Kim
Mm.
is wearing a Texas Rangers jersey.
Whoop, whoop.
Does it have anybody's
Yes.
name in the back or anything, or
It
just the
definitely just has
okay, just
um
the Texas Rangers
yes, just the
logo?
Texas Rangers.
Did any of you guys go to the parade? I know we
We
did.
surely did not. I wasn't feeling good, so I wanted to take the kids, but my sister here was able to do that for us. So luckily, we didn't go to the parade because,
Okay, first of all, let me just say Arlington never needs to throw a parade again.
yes.
That
So
did you
I
see the
think,
TikTok with people climbing on roofs? I
I think that was
mean,
her TikTok
no, I know,
actually.
but I'm saying like any TikTok
There was a
that
lot more
Yes.
that
TikToks. Yeah,
covered anything
Yeah.
with the
climbing a
parade.
roof, climbing traffic
Y'all, what was
signs,
that?
climbing
What
like
was that? Is
everything.
that what we're
You
doing?
know what? That just screams Ag Town right there. If anything,
Not the Ag
it,
Town.
it screams Ag Town. Okay, that's what that does.
Yeah. Well, the
So the parade, yeah,
Texas Rangers did win
It
the
was a
World
the
great
World
pursuit.
Series.
Series,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
champions, and so that's why we were so excited to celebrate. That's why Sally went out
Hmm.
to the celebration to
She
be a
was
part of
able
the
to,
parade, take
and
part
and
of
and
that.
how was
It
that
wasn't,
experience?
well, first things first, it's not my idea. I'm not a fan of, I love parades, but I'm not a fan of being at a parade just
Yeah,
because of
That doesn't make
crowds.
sense.
yeah.
I would rather watch it
She'd
on,
rather be in
I'd
the
rather
parade
watch, oh, or be in the
with the pom
parade,
poms.
not with the pom
Yeah,
poms.
yeah.
But it was definitely my husband's idea. He is all for celebrating these big
Hmm.
wins. So he wanted to take the kids. He watched the game. He watched the winning game that night, before, and I
Well,
was,
that's super cool. I love when
yeah.
people. I love when people are so into stuff and go to the
He
parades and.
was just cheering, watching the game. I'm hearing the kids cheer. I'm hearing the crowds on the TV getting the momentum was building. Everybody was getting so
It was an
excited
exciting game.
because they knew that this is the game we needed to
Yeah.
win the World Series. And so the parade was interesting. I would have loved to get there early, but I think we didn't leave until 10 a.m.
Sienna has something she wants to say.
and we walked. We walked pretty far. The place was really crowded. Um, the only thing about the parade, it was fun because of the crowd, but the only thing about the parade is that the baseball players were coming out in individual vehicles. We were
Oh, they
expecting
didn't
them to
come
come
together.
all together. But even if they came like that, it would have been nice if they were consistently or consecutively behind each other.
Yeah.
One truck would
It was kind of
come,
just all over the place.
and then you wait like 10, 15 minutes for the next truck.
Yeah.
So once everybody started cheering, then it would die down.
Mhm.
Then you're having to cheer again. I mean,
the
the
parade,
momentum was just
the way the parade came
the
together,
suspense did not suspense.
Mhm.
and the way the parade came together was as if they didn't even expect to win. Because if they
Yeah.
expected to win, they would have had more planning put
Uh-huh.
into this. I feel like. Um,
The trucks were pretty cool. I mean, most of them had like nice Like it said like Texas World Series. One looked like a
Mhm.
Rangers hat or like a cowboy hat. All these cool things on it, but it just didn't live up to.
It
No one
was
could really see the parade.
lackluster.
You had kids on shoulders, which is typical in this setting.
Kids on shoulders.
but,
Ah!
but but it was just hard for a lot of people to see because they closed the streets early, so no one could get to the other
Why are
side.
you
Yeah.
laughing?
One side was empty, the other side was like super duper packed, so people were climbing roofs.
I saw that.
But I mean, the atmosphere of being around with the people,
Yeah,
the crowd of
yeah.
people celebrating, it was a great experience. I don't think the kids may have enjoyed it.
Right.
I'm not sure,
It
but
was more for the adults than
we-
the children.
yeah, we definitely left a little bit early so we could beat the crowd and get something to eat.
That's good. That sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, even if it was all over the place, that's an experience. You can say that you were there for it. So
Mhm.
that's good.
Is there something that you guys like to grab on the go when you're with your kids, or do you guys usually plan like pack meals or something?
Usually if we plan something like an outing or a field trip with the family or do something, we usually pack. I like to pack us a nice little lunch to go
Okay,
with.
Mother
So, you know,
Hubbard.
if it's a last minute thing, then sure enough, we're going to grab some grab and go. And usually it's going to be like Brahms.
Okay.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah.
Brahms or
That's where we went after the parade.
chicken. Yeah.
Brahms comes in so clutch. Their ice creams.
Mm.
I mean,
You know, that does sound good right now.
it actually does
It
sound good
does.
right now. Sitting out here, ice
It
cream
surely
sounds so
does.
I think we should make a pit stop and podcast.
We should
there,
totally
huh?
make a pit stop.
I really love that we have our podcast set up this way. I mean, it's not a typical
Yeah,
setup, but
It's
it allows us to move around.
Yes.
To
Yes,
exactly. Whatever's the
talk wherever we are.
Mhm.
Yes, for those of you who get to watch us, you get to see that we always have a different background in our videos
Mhm.
because that's just how it is with
yeah,
us all being moms and having
exactly.
kids and all
Mhm.
Different schedules.
Different
Having more
schedules.
than one kid, more than two kids. So
having different schedules. That's
yeah,
what I already covered that. Thanks.
yeah. So it just makes it very convenient for each and every one of us.
Love
So
that.
and it just makes this podcast what Anna said. So
It really does. I mean, what about when we were trying to come up with a podcast name?
Yeah, we were trying to come up with a podcast name. We were trying to ask ChatGPT, what names are out there that aren't already taken because we just couldn't figure one out. And then
Hold on, I hear someone's phone going off. Can we turn that off?
whose phone is on? Whose could it be? Oh my goodness. This just like I was saying, there's always something going on with our schedules. And so it just works better for us to meet whenever we're free. And that means in the car, in Brahms next time, maybe in a library, in our
Mhm.
house, just
exactly.
We were
podcast on
talking
the go.
about the name, how we were coming up with the name.
I did, and I forgot about it as quickly as I said it. So when we
Mom brain.
mom brain is real. When we were trying to choose a name, it was just so hard, and all the names didn't feel true to us.
Mhm.
And so when we came up with what Anna said, it was just immediate. Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Anna
it.
wasn't on board.
I was
Remember?
not. I was not on
Yes,
board with it
at
at first because
It's her name in there.
because I don't want my name on there. But you know what? It's exactly who we've been all our lives. So
That's what I noticed when I was looking at the other podcast.
At our very first
it's
podcast.
not in everything that's been published, but all the little bloopers
Mm-hmm.
and stuff that didn't make the cut. It's usually one of us saying, "Yeah, what Anna said."
Right. Exactly. So right now, as you guys know, we've been bringing Sally's youngest with us, Sienna. She was actually born just 3 months ago. She's a little bitty baby, and sometimes she's upset, and she has things that she wants to say. So we allow her to have the space to say those things. Right now, she's saying, "Stop this and stop this madness and take me inside. I need to take a nap." So if you hear her, those are the beautiful sounds of a healthy baby ready to eat.
Okay, so while we're on this topic, let's just go ahead. Let's take it to Anna. So which one was the
Why?
easiest baby for you out of all your kids? Before we head to Miss Sienna.
You know what? Whenever I I think back about my kids when they were little,
Mm-hmm.
they were all pretty easy. I mean, I'm pretty blessed to say that I don't have many sleepless nights. I didn't have many of those cranky baby
Mm-hmm.
things. Um, and that's just not to brag, but it was the best time of my life. And probably, if anything was hard, it was maybe just hospital visits, things like that, but
Mm-hmm.
not really with a crying baby
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
So
anything like
yeah, so
that.
yours were pretty easy. I think the
Pretty
only thing
easy.
that I could say probably was hard for you was just the transition when your youngest daughter and you were pregnant with your son,
Oh, of course,
just that
yes,
transition because she
That was
was
a
the
big
only
gap
baby.
too.
She was the only youngest one for a while too. That was
yes.
that
She
gap.
was the youngest one for I think
3 years.
3
Yeah,
or
3
4
going to
years.
4, yeah.
So it was hard for her to know that she wasn't a baby, that there was
Yeah.
another one coming, and that was a big transition for her. So that was probably the only difficult time that I could remember, and that was as soon as he came, it was she got over it pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
They
helped.
seen they had their brother finally.
Yes, exactly. So with you, I know with you having twins, I mean that was hard for me, and I'm not their mom. Like if I have to say what kids were hard for me, her kids, that's my answer. It's Kim's kids were definitely hard on me.
If I had to say which one was my easiest and my hardest, I think my easiest pregnancy, or my not pregnancy, but my easiest baby would have been my oldest daughter. Just because she came after a infant loss and they were twins on my first pregnancy. And I ended up miscarrying them at 6 months. So I think with my daughter coming in right after that, I was just more prepared and ready to take all of that in. She was very easy for me. My second daughter, she was easy. She was, if anything, she was the easiest baby. But the first 3 months were pretty hard because that was my first time really trying to nurse. Because my sister Sally was nursing her son, which is her oldest, and she was successful at it. So I was trying to keep at it and be successful with the second baby. Luckily, I did. I was able to get past the first 3 months. We finished at I think 8 to 9 months around there. The hardest one would definitely have to be the twins. I honestly would have to say the sleep that I would get between the twins, their feeding time, because I was nursing them, would be less than an hour. And this was every day. All 24 hours in the day, I would get less than an hour sleep. So once we got past the 3 months, everything became a bit easier. They were still a handful. They still are a handful, and they're 5 now. So I think that's just how it is to have twins. But what about you, Sissy? With your babies, which one was your easiest? Which one was your hardest? And how do you navigate life through that and motherhood?
Love this question for me. I would say when I became a mom and I had my son Samson, it was hard because I'm used to Anna's babies.
Yes.
Anna had, Bilisi that
Mm-hmm.
I would help care for, and she was easy. There was no such thing as like trying to calm a baby down or anything. So Samson,
Yep.
at first it was Samson. Samson held that record
Yes.
for the hardest baby.
He sure did.
We have our 5th here, Sienna, and she is the new champion.
She
for
is
the
the
hardest
champion of
She's
that
taking
title.
Yes, she has taken that title, and it's just because she's very fussy. It's hard to tell what's going on with her, and trying to figure out, what's causing her pain, what's causing her discomfort. So that's the only reason why she's hard. But other than that, I mean, love them all. But Sienna, hands down, hardest. Easiest would be Harper, who
Harper.
is her middle name is Annalisa. She's named after these two, named after Anna and Kim. Kim's first name is Elisa, so that's where that part comes from. But that's my easiest one, but also my goofiest one too.
And if you guys have met her, Ciale, she is just a lovely character. She's just so awesome to be around. If you guys ever get to see her and her awesomeness, and she is a superstar.
And she's
just waiting.
3. No, she just turned
she
4.
just
turned 4.
Turned 4.
And that little girl is just so full of life. She has lived
is.
many lives.
Mhm.
She has lived many lives.
Yes.
We called her a grandma when she
Yes.
was a baby,
Exactly.
and she literally
Yes.
is a grandma.
Mhm.
She's a little grandma. She is. She knows no stranger. That little girl is to know her is to love her. I mean, she's just a pocket full of sunshine.
Yes.
And the fun thing about having kids at the same age as my siblings and them all growing up together is seeing all the different personalities, seeing the different dynamic, and
Mhm.
just seeing how their family dynamic is and how they all are when they get together and just watching them grow up. It's just the
Mhm.
funniest thing. It's so funny
Yep.
and it brings me so much joy. I think that I never knew how much joy could come from raising kids alongside of your siblings.
Yes.
That is a blessing. That
Mhm.
is such a gift to see and to be able just to see these little personalities, and I'm just so excited to see what they do and what they become as they grow older,
Mhm.
because these little kids, and I know that every single parent out there thinks that their kids is the greatest or their nieces and nephews are the greatest, and I totally understand that feeling because I feel the same
Mhm.
exact way. I feel like when you become a parent, you automatically just given the ability to speak about kids the entire day.
Mhm.
You can
Yes.
talk about
Yeah.
your kids the entire day and not get tired of it. You talk to strangers about them. You talk to
Mhm.
strangers about their own kids, and you could never get tired of speaking of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then people who don't have kids are I can understand why they get annoyed of that,
Yes.
because we don't care about your kids, but as parents, as aunties and uncles and grandparents, and I mean, you can't get enough. You can't get enough of each other's children, babies. It's a wonderful thing. It's a gift that
Mhm.
keeps on giving, really.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yes,
now
for
being
sure.
parents, back when we were younger, we'll be there's certain things that will happen, and that one kid that you can tell in your sibling circle, to ask your parents for something, and you know that you can get it, or
Mhm.
like that one sibling that always gets in trouble because they talk back so much.
Mhm.
I mean, there's like you get to know like their personalities,
Mhm.
and now having our own kids, we see that each of our kids to have those certain personalities where it's like, yes, that one kid can get away with it just because of
Mm-hmm.
the way that they
Yes.
are. It's like we can see why our parents did what they did because we kind of have that going on with our kids. I hope I explained that right.
You didn't,
Yes.
but the I'm just kidding.
Go
No, you
ahead,
did.
Anna.
No, you did. You did explain it perfectly. Every single kid has a superpower. Like we always
Yes.
say, every kid has a superpower. There's a kid who can get away with anything, and it's not because of favoritism. It's just
Yes.
because that kid just has a way with words, or that
Mm-hmm.
kid just has a way
The
of
face.
The face,
pulling out,
yes.
like the
The
humor
really
in
sad
every single
face.
Yes.
situation. Whereas another kid, that might not be their superpower, but their superpower
Yes.
is something else. Something else that comes to them just as easily.
Uh-huh.
So seeing all these kids, it's just like it's like a fun little. It's not an experiment, but it's a fun. It's just a fun thing that we get to just sit back and observe now as parents,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how our parents might have dealt with some situations based on our
Mm-hmm.
myself and my siblings and our own
Mm-hmm.
individual personalities, and how they disciplined accordingly,
Oh
or
yeah.
or
Yeah.
encouraged us accordingly to those things. So it's just a fun thing to see.
Yeah, because our kids right now, most of them are ages
So the oldest
12,
is 12,
and then the youngest is
3
three
Three
months.
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 And majority of the kids are elementary and like
Elementary
fourth
right
grade and
now.
under,
They're all
Hmm.
elementary, yeah.
right?
They're
Like the
6th grade and under.
majority
Yeah.
is
Mm-hmm.
fourth grade and under,
Hmm.
because
Oh
then
yeah.
the oldest,
Yeah.
yeah. So right now we're in the little toddler, not toddler, but little kid stage, and
Yeah.
can just imagine when all our kids are teenagers.
Teenagers.
Anna's girls will be teenagers first. Is there any difference that you see with your kids as they're heading into
Yes.
the next
So
stage in life?
my older two are now preteens. They're 12 and 11. So they're making their way. They're well on their way into um, the hell that is teenage. I'm just kidding. They're well on their way into that, teenagers and everything that comes with a
Mm-hmm.
teenager, being a teenager, and they're already being sassy, and they've got their, hormones are changing, they're
Mm-hmm.
growing. So a lot of things are happening, changes to their bodies, changes to their little attitudes, and it's fun to see, and it's frustrating also at times because they think they know everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's all a part of the journey that's parenthood. So even though these things come up, and it's our first time going through it, because that's another thing as
Yeah.
parents, is that this is your first time you're
Mm-hmm.
going through it with your kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning together, and you're taking how the things from when you were growing up and how you
Mm-hmm.
were being parented, and you're taking those things and adapting it to your dynamic and your own
Yes.
family dynamic. One thing about me is with my husband, he's just so good with open communication with my kids, especially with my girls, and they're so open with him, and they're just, they questions whether it's, Dad, when can I have a boyfriend, and when, they're just so they're so open with it. And to
Did
me,
they already ask that question?
they did ask him
Okay,
that
I was gonna
question.
say,
Okay, I was gonna say, 'cause
who's
I
the one that
remember-
asked?
What?
the Felix and Bay. They
Oh.
both had that question for him, and it's so funny because he's just so open with them, and they have that that relationship. Whereas if they ask me, I'm like, never, never. But so I think that the best thing is that when you have a partner and you get to use your strengths when you're
Mhm.
parenting your children, and so I can say, you know what, that's not my strength to have this conversation, and can you take the lead on that? So that's just how right now,
Yeah.
it's always changing. So right now, that
Right.
is what we're doing.
Mhm.
Like I know with you, Kim, you have your kids because you homeschool as well.
Mhm.
So you have a front row seat to everything basically that's happening. I mean, your kids are going to, you're teaching your kids at home, and any extracurriculars and stuff they're doing, it's still at home. So
Yes.
they aren't going to school like our kids are going to school.
Yeah.
So everything that they learn are coming directly from the
From,
environment,
yes.
from just being at home. So how is that going, and how do you think the difference would be if they were in school versus what now?
My older kids did have a chance to go to public school, but we felt like with our older two that they didn't get all the learning opportunity that they I felt like they could have gotten, just
Mhm.
because their learning styles are different. So we decided to
Mhm.
pull them out and put them into homeschool so that we can homeschool them according to each learning style and
Mhm.
the way that each one learns, whether it's hands-on or it's repetition or it's different activities or whatever it is. So ever since we pulled them out and decided to homeschool them in
Right.
their own
Mhm.
their own way, they have thrived a lot more. So
That's really
I
good.
love that.
yeah.
I
I
know.
know that you have a YouTube channel, right? That
That's
that
right.
you currently.
Yes, I do have a YouTube.
You guys went on a field trip.
Yes, yes.
That's my favorite
My
thing.
kids were so excited to watch that.
Yeah.
They thought it was so interesting. They are ready to go on a field
Yeah.
trip like that.
Oh,
my kids,
yeah.
my kids.
You guys went to the log cabin?
Yes.
Yeah. We went to the log cabin. It's located right here in Fort Worth, Texas. I didn't know, but Sally actually went to the same
I
field
went
trip.
years
I think
ago,
when she
yes.
was,
Yeah.
We dressed up too. We went.
Yeah,
I
we
think I
dressed
was
up
in
as
third
pioneers.
grade.
That was really
And
cute.
I'm sure there are pictures somewhere. I gotta see if we can find
Right.
some.
Yeah.
But what were you about to say? You said sometimes.
No, I was saying that's the very fun thing about the kids being in homeschool, because I've
Oh,
noticed
yes.
the huge difference with your
Mhm.
older two
Oh yeah.
from last year being in public school
Yes.
and
Mhm.
now being homeschooled, and just learning things at their own pace and being able to experience everything they learn. I mean, you guys have been on like a billion
I
field
think that's
trips
the
already.
best thing that you can
Ye-
experience
yes,
what you're learning.
yes.
Like not just textbook.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that's definitely my most favorite part about being able to homeschool is because as before we headed to our field trip to the Pioneer School in Fort Worth, before the weeks leading up to that field trip, we looked at how it was back then in the Pioneer time, what all the different job titles were back then, how they built homes,
Mhm.
how they traveled, how they cooked and made their own food. So then we were able to get a taste, and I put some heavy whipping cream into a mason jar, and then we just passed it around our little classroom and in our dining room and let the kids shake the mason jar until it turned into butter. So that was really exciting just to be able to do a hands-on
I
experience
love
and
that.
before we went to our actual field trip.
I love that because nowadays you can just go to the grocery store and get what you
Mhm.
need.
Yes.
Go get butter. Go
Right.
get your
Convenience.
vegetables.
yeah. So that's
Like, have
that's
you
what-
guys tried growing anything? Like as a science
not
experiment or
yet.
something?
Definitely plan on getting it prepared, finding a nice spot where there's just enough sun. Maybe start growing a couple things
Mhm.
and within our homeschool and learning.
Mhm.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be a great opportunity for the kids.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Please know that I will be there with a basket.
Yeah, and please,
Yeah.
and please just
Getting some
give
props.
just divide a section so that I can also plant my own crops in there.
I think it looks
apart
like you
from
have
your-
some.
Apart from your science experiment, keep those crops for yourself, but just open up another section where Sally and I could just live off your land. That would be
You know
awesome.
what? That doesn't sound bad at all. So
Guys, she homeschools. She does a lot more than just homeschooling. They
Mhm.
do so many things. She
Step
and she's a step
instructor.
instructor. She does a lot of things. I mean, she's a Sunday school teacher also. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that she's doing with kids and learning. If you want to see more of that, please follow her channel and see more of what she does. Okay, she's better at showing you than she can tell you.
Yes, she's gonna bore us to death
Because she
here.
about to bore us to death. We are trying to get people on, not make them turn it off. So just if you want to go ahead, we'll link her channel in the description if you want to learn more about that. If you want to learn more about how to even start homeschool, how to bring your kids out of public, and what you need to do, especially in Texas, what are the steps you need to take in order for your homeschooling to be recognized if your kids ever transition back. All that information is on her channel. You can ask her all about that, so please feel free to do so. But moving away from that, far away from that, anyway, so back to what we were saying with your kids thriving in homeschool.
Yes.
And with your kids just started, your kids are like
Yes.
brand new in
They
school.
just yeah.
Yes.
Your oldest, he has already been in school for a year now, and now your second has joined school for the first time. So now your family's you're kind of getting into that shift of your kids getting
in
into
school,
school and adding that to your schedule. I mean,
Yes.
one thing that you don't think about when as parents is when you have kids that's another schedule added to your day that you have to work between your own work schedule
Yep.
and now their school schedule. So how is that going for you guys?
Well, before Santa came along, it was working pretty well. But now that so my husband and I, we both work, so we're trying to do opposite schedules. We are just winging it at this point. I mean, I think that's what parenthood is.
Yeah, parenthood is
Winging
winging
it
it.
most of the time, but I think we're doing pretty well. Harper loves school. Samson is getting a little bored, but I think that has to do with he basically knows everything that's being taught right now because his kindergarten teacher was so great. She pushed him beyond his limit. She continued to challenge him to grow and learn more. So he is a whiz.
Yeah. So his learning skill, he's just a wizard already.
The whiz kid.
He's a master
He
Samson.
is a genius in his classroom
Yeah,
right now.
our
so
nickname
he's
for
bored.
Samson is Master Samson or
He's
Professor
master.
Samson. He's just been
For
just
sure.
out the gate. That kid is just a really bright kid. So seeing him in school is really exciting because he applies himself so well.
He
So
won the leadership award.
Yes, he
so we had a recent conference with the teacher and she was just raving about him. She said that she didn't really have to do much with him, which kind of it was a good thing to hear, but it was also disheartening because I want her to push him as well in school so he's not so bored. But other than that, yeah, we're doing pretty well. And I know that you're working too. The kiddos are about to go to junior high.
Next year.
That's going to be two different drop-offs.
It's going to be two different drop-offs, two different pickups, two different curriculum,
and then they start the curriculums.
Do you think you would ever have them drive themselves to school once they get a license?
In high school?
Yes. So once they get a license, they can put that license inside their wallet because you'll never use it. Because there is no such thing as you driving yourself to school.
You drove yourself to school.
I sure did. And I drove myself to school because I was also driving myself to work. My kids, we'll take you to school. I don't know, it's so scary thinking about
it is scary.
your kid driving.
Yes, I don't know how mom and dad did it.
Sometimes
I don't.
Even today, when I drive my parents around, I'm thinking, y'all trust me right now in this car? I mean, I'm 32. Y'all trust me in this car? I just can't even imagine trusting my kid with a vehicle, and I'm just in the car with them, and just I know that that's a part of life. Everyone drives. It's the way that it goes, but just to think about it. It's scary.
It is very scary. Yes.
Yes. Having your kids drive. Imagine your kids driving. But you know what? I think as time comes, it'll be easier.
Yeah.
Because definitely gonna use that to, hey, I need you to run to the store and pick up some milk. I need you to pick up your brother from school. I need you to. So who knows? I might be saying that now and eating my words later.
We'll see. We're gonna come back to this and see.
Right. We'll see about it.
Well, I think that's all we have for today.
It's all we have for today and the rest of the day. This is the thing, y'all. We're just getting here and we're just spending this time catching up. And so we are inviting you to catch up with us because during the week, it's hard for us to even make time to get together physically.
Yes.
And so a lot of the things that we're doing is just texting each other or social media where we catch up. But this right here, it means a lot every time we get together physically because we don't have time to do it. So we just document it and share what our experiences through the week and share that experience with you guys in hopes that maybe it'll help you relax too, and you get to relax with us and
Mhm.
whatever your concerns are and our
Whether you're
concerns,
listening,
whether you're listening
Yeah.
or you
you
have us in
know.
the background as background noise. I mean, either way, we really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next episode.
Until the next episode.
Until the next episode.
No, she needs to upload her episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Are we sisters?
Yes, because we did it at the same time. Because we are sisters.
We stand together. Shut off the camera, please. Too. Right away. And everybody get in the car now.